Good morning and welcome to the NBA Daily for November 19th, 2025. I'm Dave DuFour here with Es Baraheni. Coming up, LeBron is back and the Lakers look better. The Pistons win again. And we've got Jared Weiss here to talk about Victor Wembanyama missing some time and the Spurs picking up a win. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Es. Another big night in the NBA. How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Good. Look, I am good because LeBron James is back and playing basketball. Year 23 for number 23, you know?
Yeah, he is back. He made his debut October 29th, 2003. Just to put that in perspective.
That's absurd.
That was so long ago. So 23 years later, LeBron James, by the way, looked great physically.
What were you doing in October 2003?
You know what? I was doing some professional wrestling stuff for sure. 100% for sure. Play fighting with my buddies. Yeah, definitely.
I was probably learning division.
All right, this has now gotten disrespectful. Okay, speaking of, all right, so LeBron looked great. He had 11 points, he had 12 assists. Only one turnover, hit a couple shots. But really, yes, I think the big thing is, especially that fourth quarter, he was dealing and the Lakers were running. And this is actually something that has been an issue for them early on. They are not getting into transition. They're not scoring fast break points. They move slow and methodically. And this gives them a little bit of lightning to all that thunder.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they got out in transition 18% tonight, which is, I believe, 5% more than they usually do. I know it's not a crazy improvement, which is whatever. But yeah, LeBron was making them play a lot faster, especially in that second half when he finally got his legs under him. You could see he was pushing it in transition, found Gabe Vincent.
His baby lungs, woke up.
Yeah, exactly. He found Gabe Vincent for a corner three. He was finding DeAndre Ayton on the roll a couple times. And then eventually, I thought he established himself as a post presence for them, working to find cutters. He found Jake LaRavia on a couple of really, really nice cuts. This is the LeBron that they can have. And now the Lakers can play with different lineups, right? And they did this last year, but they can have LeBron and Austin Reeves kind of carry one lineup, have its own identity, and then they can have Luka Doncic, who can carry a lineup by himself. I mean, Luka was absurd in this game as well, ended with 37 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, and it didn't seem like he broke a sweat at any point in this game, Yeah.
You left out the 4 steals for Luka, by the way. Just going to throw that out there because he was playing some defense.
Locking up defensively. Yeah.
Yeah, Luka's had this ridiculous start. The conversation around the Lakers, and especially with LeBron coming back, has been, how does LeBron fit? Does LeBron fit? You've got Luka doing what he's doing, Austin Reeves taking this leap. Does it hold him back? I think the way that we saw them sort of use him tonight, and it's early, like this is game 1 and LeBron's not back to full strength yet. But I do think that this is a way that he's going to be super effective for them. Similar to last year, but with Austin Reeves maybe taking on a little bit more of the on-ball role.
Yeah. And look, I think there is a world in which LeBron can play 2 different versions of himself, right? With Luka, he's the play finisher. He's the guy working within the seams of the offense in the short roll area. Maybe he can be a better defensive player when it's Luka on the floor, creating everything so he can be the backline help defensively. I thought, truthfully, especially in the first half, he did not look good defensively. But that's expected for a guy, kind of getting his legs under him. In the second half, he was causing deflections, working. He got a steal in transition that was really nice. So he started to figure out how he could impact the game defensively. I mean, this is a guy who ended up top 10 in MVP voting last year, was a second-team All-NBA member. This is LeBron James we're talking about. He's going to figure it out, and he's going to figure out how he has to play on this team. And my question for them moving forward is, how do they find enough defensive talent? Because Keontae George cooked them.
Yeah.
Lauri Markkanen cooked them. And that's going to be a problem moving forward. I think the Lakers offense looks great, but defense is a question.
Okay, but let's talk about the Jazz for just a second, because I know you're saying
Sure.
this is a defensive problem for the Lakers. But truthfully, Keontae George was cooking. Lauri Markkanen, like we've seen him cook. Let's talk about Keontae especially though, because I mean, he kind of went off in this game, 33 points, 5 of 13 from three. He's not a great 3-point shooter, but he's letting them fly. Early on in the season, the Jazz have kind of surprised us a little bit with how competitive they've been. They fell to 5-8. Like, we don't expect them to do much. They're not going to be good. They probably don't want to be yet. But like Keontae George has kind of been a bright spot.
Yeah, he has been. And look, I actually love the way the Jazz play offensively. I mean, they work really well at finding cutters, moving without the ball. Lauri Markkanen is elite at this, but I think Keontae George has really leaned in on that aspect too. He's gotten more comfortable over the years working in pick and rolls. I saw a lot of people on Twitter today saying that he kind of looked like Dame out there. But that's sort of the mold he wants to eventually get to. Still a long way to go as a 3-point shooter, as a guy who can like initiate offense for you. But to your point, yeah, the Jazz are figuring things out. And I think a lot of that has to do with the offensive scheme that they're running with Nurkic and Lauri Markkanen and those guys as like passing hubs in that free throw line extended area, which looks really fun.
It helps to have some professional basketball players on your team. Also, with Keontae George, his shot from the mid-range looks great, and that's going to create open looks from three for him because teams are they're gonna have to sag off a little bit. Yeah, I'm surprised by what I've seen so far because I was pretty low on him.
You're buying some Keontae stock?
I
Nice.
am.
All right.
I am. Yeah. He's looking a little crafty even, I'll say.
Not shooty hoopsy? Not shooty hoopsy at all.
Not shooty hoopsy. These are not empty calorie stats that he's putting up.
Okay.
I think he might be a hooper. Speaking of hoopers, hey man, Detroit Pistons, you were early on them, S. Now, I'm going to give you credit. You were early on them. Last year, you told me they were the team to watch. Well, now they really are. They've won 10 straight. They moved to 13-2. When was the last time they were 13-2, S?
Man, the 2005-2006 season. And before that, the 1990-1991 season. They didn't win the championship in either of those years, but I believe in 05-06, they made it to the conference finals.
They also made it to conference finals in 90-91. And
there we go.
Michael Jordan and the Bulls. So, all right, Cade Cunningham, there you go. You're going to lose to the Michael Jordan and the Bulls, maybe in the conference finals. Cade, we've talked about a lot this year. He goes 25, 10 assists, 6 rebounds. I mean, crazy game. He had his finish through contact. He didn't get a foul call on, so you won't see the highlight. But it was one of the stronger finishes I think I've seen anyone have this year as far as just like a layup through contact. And what I left like from watching that play, S, was just forget how big he is because of the way he plays, because of the way he moves. But he's huge, and he's actually taking advantage of how like his body.
Well, he's so big that they're willing to play him alongside Dennis Jenkins, right? So they'll do double guard lineups, and they're comfortable because Cade is 6'6", 6'7". He can guard open positions. And I think that's one of the things with Cade that people underrate, how good of a defender he is.
Great defender.
He's able to guard. He has active hands. He moves his feet.
Really good rim protector.
Really, really good rim protector for his size too. And honestly, Detroit in general takes away the rim from you between Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren. Those guys wall off the basket. You can't get a shot off against them. The guy to talk about here for the Pistons, though, has to be Jalen Duren.
Absolutely.
I mean, he has been absurd to start this year. I was looking it up, but he's basically averaging 20 and 12 on 72% true shooting. He's defending the basket better than he ever has in his career. Teams are only shooting like 55% at the basket against him, which is elite. And then on top of that, you look at all of his metrics, like the efficiency, the steals, the blocks, all of the like advanced numbers as well, whatever advanced numbers you want to throw out there, are indicating that he is taking a leap. He looks like the shoo-in to be the most improved player right now, a month into the season. We'll see how that develops. 31
and 15 night before last without Cade out there.
And by the way, I don't know if you've seen it, but like he's creating his own shots now. Like he'll catch it above the break down a guy, get to the basket, settle into these mid-range jumpers. you don't have to do that all the time. But when you're shooting 92% on any given night, and that's part of your shot diet, that's elite. He looks like an all-star this year. I think part of why the Pistons now have like this machine level identity where they can just walk into any game and win. Part of that is Jalen Duren just being awesome.
Yeah, absolutely taking a leap. I mean, that team, again, I just start thinking about if they could get one guy. It's one guy.
Maybe we saw him tonight.
Maybe.
Dave, maybe we saw him tonight. Lauri Markkanen, I'm saying, man, that's the guy.
If they went all in for Lauri Markkanen, does that get him to the finals? Like, is he the guy that puts him there? Like, because that's where I think that they are in the East. Just like when you look at the East being down this year, there's such an opportunity.
My thing is with Lauri Markkanen is that he's under contract long term, so they can build with him too. It's not like you're signing on for a unrestricted free agent that you have to pay. The Jazz have already paid Lauri Markkanen, and in terms of how he fits offensively, he's a guy who can move without the ball. He can knock down his shots. He can create his own shot a little bit. He's obviously a marksman shooter. And the Pistons have tons of assets. They have also all of their pick capital, so they can make a trade and still have some flexibility to move without it. So I don't know. I would, if I was a Pistons front office member, I would consider it. But hey, that's why they get paid the big bucks, right?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how they do. December 15th coming up. I mean, listen, trade deadline. I think, look, this is a year where teams are going to take a swing. It's open. Why not? Wemby is not fully risen to prominence yet. The Thunder are definitely like looking like they're running away with it in the West. But if you're in the East, why not, man? Like, just go for it.
That's the thing. If you're in the Eastern Conference, especially if you're looking at the Cavs and the Knicks, who look good, the Cavs are dealing with some injuries. Knicks are also dealing with some injuries.
They look vulnerable to me.
They look vulnerable. And if you're like the Hawks, if you're the Pistons, I'm going to sneak in the Raptors there. If you're the Bucks, you have to consider stuff. You have to try and make a run for it because maybe there's an opening.
Those paychecks from the Raptors must be great. Guys, stick around. After the break, we got Jared Weiss to talk about the Spurs, how they're going to survive without Wemby and Castle, and when's Harper coming back? Es, we do our best around here when we're trying to schedule the guests, right? Like we're looking for, hopefully, we've got our reporters in a place where their team might win. We might see something epic. We thought we were going to get Victor Wembanyama versus Ja Morant, Spurs, Grizzlies. Everybody's hurt. Did not happen. Jared Weiss is not hurt. Jared Weiss was in the building for the big Spurs comeback and win in spite of missing Victor Wembanyama, Stephen Castle, Dylan Harper, Greg Popovich still not there. Jared, what'd you think about the Spurs without everybody?
Well, I mean, I think everybody thought it was going to stink like there were beans in here, but honestly, like this game was pretty solid. It was pretty good. Like we had Cedric Howard, we had Luke Cornett, so we had all the star power that you really could need on an NBC broadcast.
Yeah,
of course. And so, honestly, this game felt like it was mostly the Spurs trying to wrestle Zach Edey, and then also the Spurs didn't have a fast break point until like midway through the fourth quarter. But this game, from a national perspective, so we're not going to get into Jaren Jackson's dribble drive angles or whatever. This was the Spurs finishing on an 11-0 run. De'Aaron Fox looking good closing this game out, and their defense looking good against a team that's missing all four of its point guards. Although there was only one healthy point guard in this entire game. Like it was insane. But like this was the Spurs defense showing that they have an identity beyond Victor. And I asked De'Aaron Fox after the game about what message does that ending send. And he was like, listen, we have a set of defensive principles that are a team thing. And then Victor comes in and he enhances that. But our defense is not Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama is what makes our defense great. And so the fact that they could still play a pretty good defensive game, and Luke Cornett, even though he had a bad stat line, he did a pretty good job on Edey, who Edey didn't look that good in this game. And I think Cornett deserves a lot of credit for that because Edey was really beating the crap out of him and Cornett held strong. If Cornett wasn't out there doing his thing, Edey would have had like a 25-12 game and he would have beaten them.
I mean, they gave up 21 offensive rebounds. Let's just point that out. The Grizz did hit the glass hard.
They did.
And that's something the Spurs will have to figure out without
they killed
Wemby.
them.
Yeah.
Or they'll just lose games by 20 rebounds and then win anyway because they run pretty decent offense and they get out and run at the end.
What did you think about the late game execution? Harrison Barnes, a.k.a. the closer. He was awesome to finish out this game. I think he went on a 9-0 run by himself at some point. Obviously, with Wemby out, some of the offensive usage shifts to more De'Aaron Fox, more Devin Vassell, more Keldon Johnson, but also Harrison Barnes has had a great start to this year as well.
Yeah, Harrison you didn't really notice him a ton in the first few games of the season. And ever since then, he's really stepped up. And he mentioned tonight how there's going to be like 30 games he's going to go without needing to take, 14 shots in this one? A lot of games are going to go by where he doesn't need to step up. And then this was a game where they just needed him to be decisive attacking. And you can see Harrison Barnes, he doesn't have the explosiveness he used to have, but he can break it out. And he had that dunk at the end there, which for him was like a huge poster. For most other players, it was just like a run of the mill dunk. But the step back move on Landale to explode, he kept going to the rim. Even his coach was like, that's all that activation that he's doing, all that recovery and activation. We were talking to Harrison about getting a Normatec sponsorship after the game. The guy puts a lot of work into taking care of his body, and he's only 33, right? So he's only 2 years younger than me. So I shouldn't be talking about how old he is, but the dude's old. I'm old. My knee's so bad after playing pickup right now. I don't know. I might need to get an MRI on those things. So the fact that he's still going strong. Oh my God.
I have no complaints because I'm not old.
And you also work out a crazy amount, but Harrison takes really good care of himself and he's very reliable. And over the last year, when people always ask me about are they going to get rid of Harrison Barnes and make room for these younger guys? I've always been like, what are you talking about? He's the glue. He's the one reliable veteran on this team that not only can just play solid defense like Luke Cornett did in this game, but he'll also give you 17 points. He'll make good decisions, quick decisions with the ball. You cannot overvalue the 0.5. It's one of those stats that's so important, and yet it's not tracked. And I don't even know anywhere where you can even find stats on guys making 0.5 decisions. But 0.5 is you catch the ball, you have to make a decision on what you're going to do with it within half a second. If you do not do that, you are a bad offensive player. It's that simple. Harrison Barnes, every time the ball hits his hands, he is doing something with it in less than half a second. And that's what makes you a really good role player.
I'm sure teams have that tracking data by now, for sure. The ball being tracked.
Yeah, they all have it.
Wrists are being tracked. I'm sure they have that data. Okay. Look, before we jump to injuries, I do want to ask you, because you were in the house, you saw the Grizzlies up close. They've had a rough start to the season. We mentioned Ja Morant's out. They're now 4-11. Their coach was visibly frustrated during the game, where clearly Memphis was supposed to run a play after a timeout. They didn't do that. It's happened quite a bit this year. What do you think about the Grizzlies?
I mean, listen, man, they're really devoid of point guard play right now. And obviously it's really hard to run plays when you don't have your point guard. And at the very least, they have Cedric Howard as the focal point of their story. He's been really good. He's looking like a really key long-term starter for them. You can't go into a huddle, draw up a play, come out of it, and then not run that play. That's a coach's nightmare right there. That's a really bad sign. And this team, they have to dig their heels in supporting Iisalo. They just hired him, and the roster is going through some turnover, but obviously they still have Ja. Ja's not healthy right now. Ja's often not healthy. That's kind of part of their issue beyond even the disciplinary stuff. And so I expect to see the Grizzlies just continue to lean into letting Iisalo do his thing, seeing if they can get the roster to fit around it. They're in a weird transition phase and they're missing all their point guards. So I didn't expect them to have that good of a night. And frankly, I thought that they competed really well. They were right there and winning this game until the very end when San Antonio was able to close it out. So they're not super far away from being a decent team, but they got to be able to execute. And that's just a red flag right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Spurs are in an injury palooza right now between Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, Victor Wembanyama, missing a lot of bodies. We just talked about how they adjust and move forward, but When are some of those guys coming back?
Yeah, I mean, credit to them that they're 10-4 and they have had they haven't really played a game where everybody's healthy, like maybe one. Was Phoenix the game where everyone was healthy, and then that's when Harper got hurt and they got their asses kicked? So it hasn't been
Fox's first game, and that's the one Harper got hurt.
And ironically, it was the one where they got destroyed. It's like the only big loss they've had so far. Every other game has been super tight. So, I mean, obviously, Vic is the key to the whole kingdom there, and they're really lucky they got Kornet. Like this Kornet signing, and Olynyk too. Olynyk had a solid game off the bench, but like this Kornet signing is going to prove to be crucial because obviously not only are they without Wemby for 2 to 3 weeks at the very least, but they're going to have to load manage him more. Like this calf strain thing is a very obvious sign. Like they're going to have to give him more nights off. Yeah. And that's like that you just got to force him to do that. And I know it's hard with a lot of these young stars, but you got to force him to do that. And it certainly seemed like the calf strain that Wemby suffered came when he got tangled up with pods in that Friday game. So maybe that was just like he got tweaked and it was an injury. It wasn't like with Dylan Harper where he just like landed and he just like strained his calf on the landing, where it was kind of like an unprompted injury, which is a little bit more concerning. So maybe this Wemby thing was just an accident and that's it. And there's nothing more to it. But like, obviously with this guy, I don't care how much work he does to take care of himself, which is like an extreme amount. You still have to be extra cautious with them. He's just more vulnerable, and he hits the floor a lot. Like this happens every night. I see him hit the deck and he lays on the floor, and it's like 2 seconds where I'm like, all right, are they gonna have to move me to a different city now? like I'm like, oh God, they go through this every night. And,
I mean, he's also got more legs to trip up, man.
Yeah. And the way he plays going through the trees, which makes him more vulnerable to hitting the deck. So, Wemby's in great shape. He's extremely flexible. He has built himself to be injury resistant in his remarkable body. And yet resistance is not imperviousness, if that's the right word. He's like, they got to play it smart. And this is what the Spurs do. They are so cautious. Like, Stephon Castle, they do an MRI. I'm making this part up, but like they see like a tiny little speck on the MRI. They're like, shut it down. Like all the alarms in the building start going off. They wrap him in bubble wrap. They tell him to shut up and they put a bag over his head and he wakes up and he's in a hospital in a cast and whatever. Like this is how the Spurs operate here. And they're going to be really cautious. They understand they have a very deep team. They have one of the deepest teams in the NBA. And we saw that in this game where they're down half their rotation almost, and they still played pretty decently.
Jared, I'm curious because obviously you mentioned the fact that this is year one in San Antonio for you, but you've had a chance to cover a lot of enigmatic personalities between the Celtics and now Victor Wembanyama, the star. How does Wemby differ from some of the other stars that you've had a chance to cover?
Well, I mean, I've covered Kyrie. And if you want to go through the ringer as a reporter, I have a very interesting relationship with Kyrie because he was like pretty bad to work with when he was in Boston, but now we have a good relationship because he's just really kind of like mellowed out and found his piece. And now I like really look forward to getting to catch up with him when I do get to see him. So it's a good lesson in that people go through phases. Being a public figure is incredibly difficult. And I always tell people, I had a conversation before the game with a marketing director about this. Like, our audience just cannot appreciate how hard it is to be a public figure like these guys are. Like they go on these press conferences and every single word they say will be quoted meticulously. And if one word is in the wrong place, it turns into a firestorm. If I made some bad joke about beans at the beginning of the show and it's not going to be on Legion Hoops tomorrow, althould be really funny if it was on Legion Hoops tomorrow. Legion Hoops aggregate the. So Wemby he's able to handle that pressure really well. And he's very pensive. He's very steady. He's very slow and deliberate with how he answers things. And there's very few players I can remember that I see them like kind of slowly take it in. He makes really good eye contact. Like he was raised very well by his parents. It's very apparent. Like he makes really good eye contact. He was like, I've never seen a player go while I'm asking him a question. It's so interesting. And then he gives these very thoughtful answers, and he seems to get kind of lost in his answers. Like he's on an adventure to hear what he has to say. He really takes everything he does incredibly seriously.
Very philosophic right there, you know?
There's a reason he is who he is. It is just like LeBron, just like Kobe. It's the mindset, and then it's the physical ability. And that's what makes him so unique. So covering him, I mean, I guess he's enigmatic in the sense that he's very hard to get a read on. And sometimes he's humble. Sometimes he's confident. Sometimes he's bordering on arrogant. He gives you all these different elements of what it is to be a huge, huge star. And he does it so well. He does it as well as anyone I've ever seen.
Extemporaneous. That's the word that you're looking for. That's where you figure it out. We're going to meander.
Nice.
We're going to take you on a journey. Don't worry. We're going to get where I'm going. Jared Weiss, he covers the Spurs for us. Go read him at The Athletic. Thank you so much for hanging out, staying up late. Thanks to Jared Weiss. Thanks to Es Baraheni. I'm Dave DuFour. This has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for waking up with us.